Hi everyone, welcome back to JDCodebase. In today's video, we are going to dive into asynchronous JavaScript. So we will look at callback, promises, and how JavaScript handles async flow, something you will need in almost every real-world project. Now, why learn asynchronous JavaScript? So basically, JavaScript is a single-threaded, meaning it normally executes one line at a time. But in a real life, tasks like fetching data from a server or waiting for a timer take time. If JavaScript just stopped and waited, our apps would freeze. And that's why async JavaScript is so important. It handles time-consuming tasks without blocking code, and it is essential for API calls, timers, and file operations. And it keeps app fast and responsive, and it is literally the backbone of modern web apps, from fetch to async aware. Now, what is asynchronous and synchronous? So let's quickly compare synchronous and asynchronous code. Is like in synchronous code runs line by line. Each line waits for the previous one to finish. For example, math calculation. And in asynchronous, task can run in the background while the code continues. A perfect example is like fetching data from a server by using the API. Now let's move to VS Code and see the code here. So this is basically simple code. Console.log start step 1 math calculation 5 plus 10 and end. If I run this, I get a line by line procedure: start step 1 math calculation 15 and end. If I let's see the asynchronous code. So if I run this, I get start and in last I get asynchronous task data fetch. Means I get start first, then end. It skip the code in this set timeout function, this console.log, for 2 seconds because it takes 2 seconds to complete. That's why it skip it and move to this console.log at the line number 17 and give start and at async task data fetch. Now this is how this asynchronous functions works in the JavaScript. So let's move to the next is the callback. So one of the first way JavaScript handles callback by using the callbacks. A callback is simple a function passed to another function which is executed after a async task is done. So if you see, I have a function fetch data. It takes a callback function, and here in this function I have a set timeout, and here I just write the console.log data receive, and after this I just call this callback function. Now here I just calling the fetch data, and inside this I am sending this a function which just is tell the write the line console.log processing data. Means generally we write the function calling by using this fetch data and by using these braces, but in the callbacks we have to give a function inside a function. If I run this, wait, I just write this. If I run this, I get here data receive and processing data. Just data receive and then I get processing data. So there are some inbuilt array method also which support the callbacks also, like array dot map function. So here we are just passing a callback function here inside this map, and also in the for each we are just passing a function this num inside num index and this curly braces which modify the array. If I run this, I get this async task 2 4 6 8 10 and 2 4 6 8 10 by using this. So these are the callbacks, but there is a issue with that, with the callbacks, is the callback hells. But when you have multiple async tasks that depends on each other, you get nested callbacks, often called callback hells. Like here I have a function task1, it takes callback, and at set timeout it just prints the task1 completed and callback. It runs this callback function. In the function 2, task2, it just run this console.log task2 completed and then again callback using this. And how we can call this task1, and inside this we just call this task2 function. Inside this we just call this function which write the both tasks completed. If I run this, I get task1 completed, task2 completed, both tasks completed. But issue is, imagine if these tasks were real API calls, it would become a nightmare. That's why promises were introduced, because even 1 to 2 API may takes 10 to 15 seconds to fetch. It takes many time to retrieve this. And now due to this the promises were introduced. A promises is a cleaner way to work with the async code. It represents a value that may not be available yet but will be fulfilled or rejected in the future. So if you see this code, wait a second. If you see this here, const data is equal to new promise resolve reject. Inside this we have a function by resolve and reject, and set timeout. It gives the resolve data ready, and we also reject. We can also reject this by using this reject keyword. And how we can use by using this dot then and dot catch, means dot data dot then. If it is resolve, I get the resolve query result here, and if it is reject, I get the error in the dot catch. So if I run this, wait a second, I get the data ready. So because here we are resolving these promises by using this resolve keyword, which gives the data ready. In the result, I get this line. But if I reject this promise, now what I get? I get something went wrong inside this console.error, and inside this error I get this line something went wrong. So by using this dot then we handle the success, and by dot catch handles error, much cleaner than nested callbacks. If you see the previous example of Callbacks Hell in the form of promises, you will see I have task function task1 which returns, and this returns a new promises which is resolve set timer console.log task1 completed, and again call the resolve function resolve. Now next is the function task2 function, and it also returns a new promises promise which is also resolve, and by after the 1 second task2 completed and it resolved. Now task1, how can we run this? By using the task1 function, and if it I call the task1 function, if it resolve, it call the task2 function. If it resolve, it calls the this function. It gives this console.log both tasks completed. Like here in the task1, I get task1 completed, it resolve. I get task 2 completed, it resolve, and both tasks completed in log. If any part I reject here, it gives an error occur here. If I run this, I get task 1 completed, task 2 completed, and both tasks completed. If any way I just write this reject and just call this reject here. Now let's see what happened. Task 1 completed, task 2 completed, and an error occur. So these resolve and reject are the two main essential keyword in the promises. By using this, we can just print the output based on this resolve and reject. So we cannot change this by our own keywords. So these are the also called the promises chaining. In a simple terms, we can see these promises chaining is we can chain tasks one after the another by avoiding the callback hell. Like here we have a function fetch data, and inside this we have new return new promises. Here we resolve this promise fetch data, and inside this function step 1 data, function step 2, and it takes step 2 data, function 3, and inside this now we call the fetch data. It calls this promise with the resolve. We get step 1 data fetch. I write here. Now after this we are just that dot then step 1. It calls this step 2 data process, and then step 3 data save, and then this. If I run this, I get data fetch, data process, data save, and this is just come from the previous example. So if you see, step 1 data fetch, step 2 data process, step 3 data save, and in last we just writing this. So these are the step in the process promises chaining. So we see callbacks, callback hell, promises, and promise chain. So now here what we learned today is asynchronous JavaScript is a non-blocking code. So callbacks were the first async pattern but messy, and promises are a cleaner and modern alternative for this, and this sets the stage for async and await, which we will cover in the next video. And this is the advanced topic for this async await is the mainly the advanced topic based on these callbacks and promises. Without using this callback and promises, you do not use this async await. And that is for the today's video on asynchronous JavaScript, callbacks, and promises. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to JDCodebase. Next up, we will make async code even cleaner using the async await. See you in the next one.